mafia.
I'm in the waste management business. It's a stereotype. And it's offensive.
What is up, Internet? Today we're going to talk about how The Sopranos holds up in 2018. So if you're clicking on this video, you probably already know what The Sopranos is. It's probably one of the best shows ever created. It was on HBO from 1999 to 2007. And it follows a mob boss and all of his issues in life, how he has to see a psychiatrist, and how he's got to take Prozac and other types of drugs for his panic attacks, and just kind of his life. The Sopranos, in its heyday, won 5 Golden Globes, along with 113 wins and 301 nominations for other awards, according to IMDb. Also on IMDb, The Sopranos has a 9.2 rating out of 10. And I can say for myself, The Sopranos is one of the best shows I have ever watched. I've actually watched the entire series twice. I watched the show in its whole entirety back in 2014 when I was in high school, and I loved it then. I actually knew about it because my dad watched it when it was actually current back in the day. It's been highly integrated into our culture over the last 20 years. A lot of references and phrases. So getting back to watching the show. Like I said before, I watched it in its whole entirety one time already, like 4 or 5 years ago. And just this last few months, I went back and rewatched the entire thing again for a second time. And I got to say, watching it for a second time throughout the whole entire series with a different lens, kind of watching it differently because I watched it so fast the first time. And the second time, I took a little bit more time and kind of delved more into it. It is probably the best show I've ever watched. It's definitely my top 3. There's no low points in any episode or any season. I would say it's just a great damn show, and I'm glad I rewatched it because you watch it differently from when you're like a 16, 17-year-old kid to when, like, I'm not old by any means, but how you watch it when you're 21, it's just a different, you watch it through a different lens, and it's super cool how that happens with these great shows. And I imagine if I rewatch it again when I'm 25 or 26, 27, or when I'm 35 or 40, it's going to be different. And let me tell you, this show holds up 20 years later. It came out in 1999. The first season is spectacular. The show holds up so great. It's amazing how well it actually holds up. Obviously, you're going to have a few things that look old because it was filmed in 99. Like, it is what it is. Obviously, there's no cell phones really, and just the styles and stuff. But beyond that, the acting, the scripts, the writing, it is so spectacular. From a pure storytelling perspective, it is a great series, and I cannot express to you guys enough how much it is one of the best series ever. HBO is just awesome. I mean, let's just purely say it. I don't think they've ever had really a bad show that I know of. They constantly put out great material, and The Sopranos is at top of the charts, if not the best HBO's ever had. It is just awesome. And if you don't like mob stuff or gangster stuff, it's more than that. Definitely, it's a huge part of it, but there's more to it. I mean, obviously, it's highly ingrained in the show because Tony Soprano is a mob boss and it's a part of the Italian mob and so on and so forth. But it's way deeper than that. It's way deeper than, say, like Casino or Goodfellas. It is multifaceted how deep it goes. It touches on PTSD. It touches on your psyche and like what that life does to you, or like what killing can do to people, or stress and what stress does to people, and how you can have anxiety and panic attacks. And it tackles so many just hard-hitting issues that not a lot of shows have done well, or even at that time back in like 99 when the show came out, no shows ever talked about or ever showed. And it's really interesting to see from the perspective of such a strong main character, and he's a boss of a family, have these issues that normal people have. You know, maybe you just work a 9 to 5 and you have anxiety, or you have issues with panic attacks and stuff like that. And it's really interesting to see what normal people have on such a strong main character. The Sopranos holds up as one of the best shows I've ever watched still in 2018. I cannot express this enough. Watch The Sopranos if you have not already. It's on HBO Go. It's on Amazon Prime. Go watch it now if you haven't, especially if you're like around my age. If you're like ages from, I don't know, 16 to 21 and you've never watched it, please go watch it. It is awesome. And if you're a little bit older and you kind of remember it when you were a little bit younger, but you're like, yeah, I don't know how it really holds up. It holds up spectacular. Go watch it right now. It is one of the best shows ever. You'll enjoy it. You will not regret your decision of watching this show. It holds up. And that is my time for this video. The Sopranos, one of my favorite shows ever. Tony Soprano is probably one of my favorite characters ever portrayed in a show. It's great. It's a great show. I don't know what else to say. I know I didn't dive too much into the show itself. I probably could do a whole video about that and like really the families and just the multifaceted dynamic of the whole entire show. But today we just talked about how it holds up in 2018. It holds up great. One of the best shows ever still 20 years later from the air date. 19 technically, but we'll say 20 years, make it easy. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you comment down below. It's kind of something different I never done before, talking about how a show holds up. I watch a lot of older shows, so I can do more videos like this. If you enjoy, make sure to hit the subscribe button.